Hi, my name is Chris Morrow, and I'm at ComicCon at home. And right now I'm remotely connected to the Tin Fish at the San Diego Gaslamp Trolley Station. And the panel is Read Manga and Learn Classic Literature. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you? If you could introduce yourself and tell me where your home is.
Sure. I'm Erik Ko. I'm the Chief of Operations of Udon Entertainment and Manga Classics. For this particular session, I guess we're talking about Manga Classics. So I'm the head of this program. Taking classic literature and make them into manga so that it's more accessible to the new generation of readers. I'm personally located in Toronto, Canada. But our operation is all over the world, I guess.
And I'm Meg Maiden. I'm the Director of Marketing for Manga Classics, and I'm located in Portland, Oregon.
Well, that's great. Well, tell me about your panel. How did it go?
Well, it seems to be pretty neat. Of course, we miss all the interaction with the fans directly face-to-face. But I guess with the panel being online this year, we probably have new fans and new audiences that would otherwise never would have seen our panel. So I guess it's a good and a bad thing. I definitely miss San Diego. I miss where you're sitting. It's like awesome. I know exactly where you're sitting. It's I have been attending Comic-Con for the last 25 years or so, nonstop. So all of a sudden this year we don't get to be there. Kind of feels a little weird. Yeah, I think it's interesting that beforehand with all the Comic-Con panels, of course it's really catering to the people attending the con, and now with Comic-Con at home, I believe that we can possibly reach more people this way. As I said, I do miss the face-to-face interaction. You got to see the fans. You got to really have these interactions with them. But with at home, there is going to be a different kind of level of interest that we can reach elsewhere.
I do think it's really good. It's really tough, though, to not be able to put a book in somebody's hand and be able to show them exactly what you're talking about. And these adaptations are so special and so unique. So that's definitely, missing that interaction. But yeah, I mean, it's for it to be open to the world for free and for anybody to be able to click a link. It's such a unique opportunity this year. Like it's really special.
We have been, actually pushing, reading with comics and everything. Nowadays, in the educational field, comic book, graphic novels, manga becomes a crucial tool for the teachers or for the parents to get kids to read. Of course, some would argue that, oh, it's not the same. These are picture books. These are not real books. But in fact, you can see that the text, it's as complicated and as complex sometimes. And with the help of pictures, it actually helped a lot of new readers, younger readers, and even reluctant readers to help them understand the story better, to get them to kind of to get away that stigma of, oh, this is complicated, this is complex, this is boring, and it's not. Our program, especially with Manga Classics, is we take classic literature and faithfully adapting them into manga, which is something that's very, very popular among young kids. With that, you give like a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, like a big book with all text. They open it up, it's like, oh, this, I don't want to read it, it's too challenging. But with
some adults don't want to either.
Yeah, some adults don't want to either. Exactly. So what some of the really popular titles that we have done is like Les Miserables here, and then we started doing Shakespeare's, which we take the Shakespeare's, especially, like some of these are adaptations, but done very faithfully, that we don't take we try to take as much of the original dialogue and content and do it in a book. We did a lot of research on the period, on the source material. We don't go and twist the story or modernize the story. Everything is what the original author meant to be, and then we do it that way. With Shakespeare, we even make it further that every single line of the Shakespeare book is in there. It's basically the whole book. So you read a
Mhm.
manga classic Shakespeare, you give the kid a manga classic Shakespeare, they read it, they actually read a real Shakespeare book,
Yeah.
and they didn't know it. And that's the cool part about it. They didn't know that they actually finished reading Hamlet or Macbeth, but they
Hmm.
did. And when they go to school, later on, they was like, oh, I read this before. And actually, I really read it before. And it helps them visualize the story. It helps them, get all these little metaphors and all those kind of things that is actually in the book that is harder to understand. It's all with the manga artwork and stuff is presented much clearer to them.
Yeah, the comprehension, especially. I have a 12-year-old, and to be able to give him, Edgar Allan Poe or Dracula, because he likes some of those titles a little bit more. It's kind of a gateway into a different way to understand a story. And with Shakespeare, especially, having the pictures there for context, because the language is so hard for a lot of people to comprehend. So having a visual cue as to what's going on in the scene, even if they're not truly understanding the words for it, they're able to get the gist and be able to keep moving through the book. Whereas some readers, when you're just reading the text, you stumble and then you're done. You don't want to finish it. So that's what makes our line incredibly unique and really accessible to a broad range of people. If it's kids, and now with homeschooling and people having to do distance learning, we've been really trying to make sure that these options are there for people to just have a resource, because a lot of parents are doing it on their own. So
Yeah, on our website, we actually have like lessons plans and teaching guide.
mhm.
We are actually launching a learning.mangaclassics.com. We actually have a free, uh, like overall, um, almost like a class for Romeo and Juliet right now up there for people to try it out for homeschooling and stuff. It is
Mhm.
basically the whole teaching guide. The whole course is up there. We work with a local educator here, Mike Barltrop, who is one of our co-presenter in the panel. And if you have watched our panel, you'll see he is very enthusiastic about using manga and graphic novels to teach. And then he has a whole way of devising a teaching guide and a whole basically a whole program based off of graphic novel and manga. And he helped me build that Romeo and Juliet course online, and it's now completely free for everybody that want to try it. Either teachers or parents who are homeschooling and stuff. And it's all available at the MangaClassics.com website. So we have a lot of resources for people to use our books
Mhm.
in the classroom or at home.
At what age do you think is a good time to start reading manga?
There is no. I think I myself started reading manga when I started knowing how to read a book.
Yep.
When we were kids, we started reading picture books and everything, which is a form of a graphic form, like a graphic book format, right? With the picture books, we started with that, with the ABCs, with
Mhm.
the sun is rising and all those kind of things, like. And then we started reading all these other books with more complex materials, more complex pictures. I don't think there is an age. Of course, it depends on the context. It depends on the content. Our book ranges from like uh, my kid, she started reading our manga classics when I first started putting it out. So the first two books being Les Miserables and Pride and Prejudice, she started reading it at around 8 years old, and now she's 12, and it's next year she actually has to start reading Edgar Allan Poe and stuff, and we actually have an Edgar Allan Poe book that also integrates the full prose, word for word of
Yeah.
Poe's original word in it with the manga artwork, as a companion to the
Mhm.
text. And now she's ahead of the game because she just read it. And then when she goes to school, it's like I totally understand what's going on,
Mhm.
which is kind of cool. and she started tackling Shakespeare's, which, for a 12-year-old to tackle Shakespeare, it's a daunting task, but then she's enjoying the story. She, like, we talked about it all the time. It's like, so what happened to Hamlet? Like, what's wrong? With, like, is he pretending to be mad, or is he really mad? Talk about it a lot, and which is interesting to have a 12-year-old kid talking Hamlet with you.
That's cool. Anything else you'd like to add?
I guess we are very excited to be able to be here, and hopefully, graphic novel, manga, and everything could be accepted as a really good form, a good format for people to learn reading. Don't feel bad that like that. Don't I think as we all grow, with the generations being more accepted to reading comics and manga, I think in the next generation or two, this will be a common thing, that we can take these manga and comic format and have adaptations of various different things, not necessarily just literature. I'm seeing like doing manga chemistry or manga physics. I think that would be kind of cool thing to do too. That
Anything to make
using
it
more the
accessible.
graphic
Yep.
form, for educational purpose. I think that would be like a really cool thing to do.
Thank you so much. I'm Chris Morrow at Comic-Con at Home, and we miss you, and we'll see you soon.
Oh yeah, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for
Thank
having us. Thank you. Bye-bye.
San Diego!